Game Development Explained. No theory, just what works.
So what on earth does a really weird, mysterious YouTube channel from 2015 have to do with managing a big, complicated project? Well, it turns out a surprising amount, actually. Okay, picture this. It's 2015, and this YouTube channel called Unfavorable Semicircle just starts uploading. And I mean uploading like crazy. Tens of thousands of videos. And at first, they looked like pure random digital garbage. But they sparked one of the most compelling internet mysteries of the time. If you were brave enough to click on any single video, this is pretty much what you'd get. You know, most were just a few seconds long, but some went on for hours. They had these random number titles, totally distorted audio, and just bizarre, simple visuals. It was literally like staring into the static of a dead channel. But then, something absolutely fascinating happened. A bunch of internet sleuths started digging in, analyzing these videos frame by frame. And they discovered that when you took little fragments from all these different uploads and pieced them together, a picture started to emerge. Suddenly, the chaos wasn't chaos at all. It was a hidden composition, just shattered into thousands of tiny, seemingly random pieces. What looked like pure noise on its own was actually part of a much, much larger hidden structure. You know, this whole story of the unfavorable semicircle is way more than just a weird internet tale. It's actually a perfect metaphor for a feeling that I bet a lot of us have had on big, complex projects. So before anyone found those hidden pictures, everyone pretty much agreed on what was going on. It had to be a broken bot, right? Or maybe some bizarre attempt to game YouTube's algorithm. It was just dismissed as totally meaningless. And that feeling, that experience of looking at something that feels completely disconnected and pointless, is exactly how daily work can start to feel on a project that's losing its way. And this brings us right into the world of game development, where, let's be honest, this feeling of fragmentation is incredibly common. So let me ask you, have you ever had that feeling at work? The one where your day-to-day tasks just stop feeling connected to the bigger goal. You're definitely busy, you're getting things done, for sure, but the why of it all starts to get a little fuzzy. And this feeling, it looks a little different depending on your role, right? For a programmer, maybe it's a ticket that just says refactor this old system with zero context. For a designer, it's getting feedback that completely contradicts something that was approved months ago. And for QA, oh man, it can feel like you're just running in circles, testing the same bugs over and over again. Each task is a fragment, and the connections between them are totally lost. So why does this happen? It's almost never because people aren't working hard enough. The real cause is usually structural, and it's rooted in the very nature of complex development. I mean, think about it. Game development is basically a perfect storm for this kind of fragmentation. You've got all these different disciplines. Code, art, design, audio, UI, all moving in parallel, each with its own workflow. And while they all impact each other, it's often indirectly, which makes seeing the whole picture from any one spot incredibly difficult. And what happens over time is that the project's backlog, well, it stops looking like a clean to-do list and becomes more like an archaeological dig. Seriously, you have these layers of tasks from early prototypes, feedback from playtests 6 months ago, old notes from the publisher, all just mixed together. That original simple plan, it's buried somewhere under all that stuff. And you know, this risk of chaos isn't spread out evenly across the project. It is most dangerous right in the messy middle of development. Think about it. The early days are focused, they're exciting. The final push is a sprint driven by that hard shipping deadline. But that long, murky middle phase, that's the swamp. That's where you have the most people doing the most things all at once. And it's the place with the highest risk of the project's vision just kind of evaporating. Now, this is where the discipline of production becomes absolutely critical. And its true purpose is often misunderstood. It's about so much more than just tracking tasks in a spreadsheet. See, the real job of production isn't just managing schedules. It's being the guardian of the project's hidden picture. It's about making sure that every single, individual, fragmented piece of work continues to build toward the same coherent vision. And the difference is just stark. When production fails, all the work feels like random noise, and nobody has a clue why priorities keep changing. But when it works well, every task, every change, it connects to a visible path forward. People actually understand the why, even when the plan needs to adjust. So if your project's hidden picture is starting to get a little blurry, how do you bring it back into focus? Well, the solution lies in a few deliberate, consistent practices. Really, it all comes down to being consistent. First, your roadmap has to communicate intent, the why behind the work, not just a list of deadlines. Second, you've got to keep a simple log of major decisions. This prevents that critical context from just vanishing over time. And third, please, make sure your milestones are real, tangible goals, not just abstract labels on a calendar like alpha that nobody can clearly define. Because when these practices start to slip, that shared context just evaporates. And then the team gets stuck in this loop, asking those fundamental why questions over and over again, all because the project's story has been lost. The goal might still exist somewhere, but it's become completely invisible to the people who are actually building the thing. And that brings us right back to the beginning. A good producer's job is to be the person who pieces all those fragments together, just like the internet sleuths who solved the whole unfavorable semicircle mystery. Look, any single team member sees their own slice of the work. A ticket, an asset, a bug fix, they see the fragment. Production's role is to constantly assemble those fragments and present the whole coherent picture, showing everyone exactly how their piece contributes to the final game. Ultimately, it all comes down to this. The single most important job of production is to make sure the team never, ever feels like they are just creating random noise. They need to know for sure that they are all contributing to one single, coherent composition. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. On your current projects, how visible is that hidden picture to everyone on the team? And maybe what's one small thing you can do tomorrow to make it just a little bit clearer?
If this is useful, subscribe.
New breakdowns every week.